Welcome to the Dietmar Tonight Show. Episode 4 is about love and leadership. These are our guests tonight. And here is your host, Dietmar.
Good evening. Do you love your employees? And what does that even mean, love? Let me start with the women of the Roman Empire. In 44 BC, Asia sent her son a letter asking him to immediately come home from his studies abroad. His great-uncle had just been murdered and her son was named as heir. They had to make a difficult decision. He could accept the money, but he could also become his great-uncle's political successor. The deceased was none other than Julius Caesar, and Asia's 19-year-old son could become incredibly rich. But in addition, he could also become the Emperor of Rome. Asia tried to convince him to take the money and forget about the power. His health had always been fragile, and Mark Antony, a brutal general and powerful ally of Julius Caesar, had already taken over Rome. Asia feared for her son's life if he challenged Mark Antony. But her son did not follow his mother's advice. It took him 14 years to fight and defeat his opponent, and in 13 BC he became the sole ruler of Rome. Nowadays we know him as Augustus, and he has become immortal. Our month August is named after him. He ruled Rome for 44 years, and he started a series of about 70 Roman emperors succeeding him. Imagine for a moment to walk in his mother's shoes. Would you have accepted your son's own very dangerous decision, and would you still have supported him? Would you still have loved him, although, against your own strongest beliefs, your son chose to risk everything against all chances? In comparison, let's look at Augustus' direct successor. Tiberius did not want to become emperor. His mother Livia managed her own companies, had enormous personal wealth and a lot of political influence. She massively pushed and supported Tiberius, and she ruled Rome together with him. What you see here are not queen and king, they are mother and son. Back then, there was no way that a woman alone could be Emperor of Rome. Did Livia care about her son's own plans? Or did she only support him and push him to be emperor against his will? Because he was useful for her, and he made her ruler of Rome. Was there a calculation, a condition, which came with her love? It got even worse. Nero wanted nothing more than to become an artist. He was Agrippina's only child, and he was 17 years old when she had done everything to make him Emperor of Rome against his will. His success was her success. Mother and son ruled Rome. They were printed together onto the head of golden coins, and there are even coins showing her alone with her exclusive car. But Nero hated his own mother so much for everything she had done for him, respectively for herself, that he eventually had her killed. Did Agrippina love her son Nero? Or did she in fact hate him for not being the man and the emperor she needed him to be, supporting her own goals? Sometimes I hear people say that they are parents because they do not want to be alone when they are old. Sometimes I hear people say that children cost so much time, money and energy, but eventually are giving so much back. Is love a deal? As a leader, when I measure what my employees have produced, do I reward the outstanding achievers with love and attention, while I punish the low performers with despise and neglect? There's this expression of unconditional love. For me, that sounds like wet water or cold ice or fast light. I understand love as supporting someone's growth without expecting anything back. As soon as I love only these employees whose results are useful for my own career, I'm not on their side. I use them for my own goals. And I don't want to judge here. I only expect leaders to be honest. Say it. This company uses employees. We pay you and we use you until you're not useful for us anymore. Say it. Write it on the walls of your company. Don't say this is a company which is like a family. Be honest. Say this company is like Nero's mother. You enable our success and we don't care what you want, who you really are and how we could help you to grow and thrive. We simply don't care. Here, you serve us. Recently, the Australian businessman Tim Gurner said, "We need to see unemployment rise. Unemployment has to jump 40 to 50%. We need to remind people that they work for the employer, not the other way around. There's been a systematic change where employees feel the employer is extremely lucky to have them. We've got to kill that attitude." Is that leadership? I have a simple opinion on that. Tim Gurner can embarrass himself with apologies now as much as he wants to. I believe what he originally said. He doesn't love his employees, he doesn't care about his employees, and he doesn't help them grow. I believe him. I would do everything to never have to work for him. And if circumstances would force me to work for him every single day, I would only contribute the absolute bare minimum not to get fired. Please don't get me wrong. If love is supporting someone to grow, love is definitely not supporting someone to be destructive. Parents who let their children harm themselves or others do not love their children. Parents who fail to set boundaries probably fear to lose their children's admiration. Leaders who tolerate toxic and destructive behavior fear their own employees. The mentioned Augustus had a grandson named Agrippa Postumus. For a while, Augustus considered him to be a potential successor, but eventually he banished him from Rome because of Agrippa's unbearable character. He was brutish, insolent, stubborn, arrogant and violent, and he resisted all efforts to improve his behavior. Augustus saw no chance for Agrippa to ever become emperor or any kind of leader. Tolerating destruction is neither tolerance nor love. Ask the leaders of ancient Rome, they knew what they were talking about. My movie example this time is of course the film Amour from 2012. The Austrian filmmaker Haneke became famous for his extremely violent films full of utterly disgusting hate. Maybe that laid the foundations for the opposite, his movie about love. One critic wrote, "This is filmmaking at the highest pitch of intelligence and insight." Haneke's film is about a man who is on the side of his wife, come hell or high water. As a leader, are you on the side of your employees, come hell or high water? Now, before we talk with our first guest, let's take a short break.
20 rooms, for example, and you have to clear each room and get to the next one. If you die, you go right back to the beginning. But you keep your new resources. You get more powerful every time you die. Mattin's Game. 2024. Use the like/dislike buttons in the comment section to give us valuable feedback. Press the subscribe button if you want to be informed about new episodes. And if you want to be a guest on the show, get in touch. And here is our first guest.